Hey everyone, it's 10 Types, and the trainer trials in Pokemon TCG Live have been really exciting because it's been like a really substantial new addition, and you can actually find info about it on the Pokemon TCG forums, which is what I'm going to be looking at today. I usually don't look at it outside of just like the letters because people usually say like, um, I don't know, there's a lot of random stuff, including people saying like, oh, there's a bug and it's not a bug, or it is a bug and it's mostly talking about live bugs, to be honest. But today we're going to be talking about some people's ideas for trainer trials. I'm going to break them down. I'm going to say some of mine. I'll quickly read the ones that we've seen so far. The ones suggested that I'm going to suggest and that other people have suggested, I believe, are all more ambitious than these. Which I think is good. I think so. First of all, we had the Singleton Showdown, or we still have the Singleton Showdown. It was technically broken into two parts, I think, that pre-rotation and post-rotation, but it's the same format. And that was one of each card in standard, except for basic energy. Then Twin Battle is the next one, which is exactly two of each card. I personally don't think Twin Battle is going to be super interesting. I think Singleton Showdown's been kind of weird. It's not like a super like kind of objectively good format, right? Objectively good means like a wide metagame with a lot of different like deck types. There's just like stage two toolbox and basic toolbox. That's really probably what you're really playing. You can mix things up. That's not the biggest issue. The biggest one is that the games are pretty swingy in my opinion, but it's not a bad format. I mean, I don't know. It's okay. We still need to figure it out a little more and mess with it some, but so far I think it's fine. Certainly good enough for the first one, but I would like to see them do a little more going forward. And these five are, it feels, well, no pun intended, a bit like a trial period to see what people like. And then the third set of weeks is the Gym Leader Challenge format, which presumably is not full Gym Leader Challenge. It's Sun and Moon on. I'll make a video talking, or I'll probably make a bunch of videos talking about that. I talk about Gym Leader Challenge some on the channel. That's where I started, so that's cool. And there's lots of stuff about that online if you're not familiar with that. And on my channel and other places. Then there's the Silver series. All of them have like kind of random names. They're like not consistent at all, which is kind of weird. But anyways, the Silver series is Scarlet and Violet. Actually, if anyone knows why this is called, oh wait, no, it's called it because it's silver borders, I guess. Is that why it's called the Silver series? I think. But anyways, so it's Scarlet and Violet series. And then common, uncommon, and rare cards. Cards without rule boxes or cards with rule boxes are not allowed. So it's like non-rule box. Yeah, it's like non-rule box essentially is what it is, and it's standard. It says Scarlet and Violet series, which implies that's going to be other series. In the future, like Sword and Shield, for example, or Sun and Moon. And then the last one is the CU Cup in Expanded, which is expanded, which I think is live expansive Sun and Moon on with common and uncommon cards only, which I think will be I think that'll be really cool. I'm most excited for the last three. I'm probably least excited for the Twin Battle. I think it'll be okay, but I don't really plan on playing it that much, to be honest. But, you know, it could be really fun. And the Singleton Showdown, I think it's cool. It's a little weird, right? I think it just has a kind of janky feel to it, but it's cool enough. I would have rather seen, you know, these last 3 weeks, I think are going to be the ones that are going to be, or these last three formats are going to be the ones that are the most fun. I think all three of them are really, really cool. But anyways, then we're going to move. These are, by the way, all of them are just changing the card pool, I believe. Yeah, they say there's the card pool, which is like a thing. It's one of the things. They have the period of time, they have the card pool, and they have the trial rules. But I believe all the rules are just card pool. It looks like it is, as far as I can see. They're like bans, which are card pool. Certain types of cards are allowed and aren't allowed. And then, oh, I guess the first two actually are not, or no, sorry, the first three, the card counts are like not card pool stuff, so that's a special rule. But it's on deck building. There are no gameplay changes, which and they're all like you build a deck, then you hop in. So talk about some other ones here. The first one here suggested is something like I can't like read this person's name. I think that's just the top of the keyboard. Anyways, so this person said they had a few ideas. The first one is Tricentivitality. So each Pokemon has exactly 300 HP. It says not 300 base HP, but 300 at all times, which I think means this one's like a little weird. I'm not exactly sure what this person means by it, but I think it's that you need to like one shot them. Like if you hit them, then if you hit them for like 30, then nothing happens. So you need to like hit 300, which is kind of interesting. kind of weird. Or you could like instant knockout through Roaring Moon EX or something. Roaring Moon EX would actually be really good. The well, I don't know, your opponent could miss energy, but assuming they're not doing that, it's really good because you do massive self damage, but your self damage is just ignored. You don't one shot yourself, so you're okay. Then it'll just heal up again. This is like kind of interesting. I don't think it would actually make a super great format because like I think it would be really weird, but it's an interesting concept. With Pokemon that like I don't know, it's a gameplay change as well. Obviously, I don't know if it what there is to draw from this idea. It's like it's unique certainly, and it's kind of fun. Probably wouldn't play very well, but certainly is funny. Makes certain single prizes like obviously Pokemon with less HP are all of a sudden much better. Like Badoo, right? Badoo's better. Oh, and Trapping is also better probably. So it might be like a really weird format that could be really toxic or could be really cool and really chaotic. Or not. I don't know. Anyways, that's the first one, which is interesting to mess with it. I do like the idea of messing with HPs though. And then Common Sense is the name, which says only cards printed at common, except basic energy. And they said no, but do. I don't know what format these are in. This person didn't say. I'll just assume standard. And these are just obviously these ideas being put out. I'm not super familiar with what cards are common, like rarities of cards. I think Drake Cloak is a common. That's a pretty decent common. I don't know what commons are good attackers at all. I know Badoo's like good. I don't even know what trainers are commons either. Like research is, for example, with the new set, which by the way, random tangent, obviously we're talking about live, and I want to actually hear if people have checked in their live collections, but for me it says I have infinite copies of Professor's Research, which is not true. I don't have infinite copies of Professor's Research, obviously, like that's not possible in Pokemon TCG Live or at all, but it says that. I'm not really sure what the deal is with that is. I think there's a certain number you have to pass, and then it says infinite. I don't know why that's programmed into the game, but it is. So I wonder if other people also all have infinite, or if some people do and some people don't. But anyways, yeah, research is a common here, but obviously it's not always a common like this one isn't. So we'll actually see for the actual format, the Cup expanded, if research will be allowed. I'm pretty sure it'll be allowed because there was a common printing. Presumably this art of research won't be allowed. Who knows? We'll see exactly how that's going to work. But I'm interested in finding that one out. And I don't know what trainers are, what varieties they are. I feel like I associate a lot with being uncommons, but there are definitely some that are going to be common. It might be interesting. Like, what's Great Ball? That one is, oh, yeah, it looks like it's also, oh, no, here it's a common. So, anyways, it's like kind of interesting. Obviously, nothing super crazy. That's like kind of like or what's it called? The CU Cup expanded, or like the Silver Series with rarity restrictions. This is like the third level of that. It's just commons. It's supposed to common and uncommons, or common, uncommons, and rares. I do think they're expanding this. So this is actually like it's not an official format, but it's like a format that people play some called Pauper. I think it's based off of Magic. I'm not familiar with it. I've never actually played it, but it's expanded uncommons and commons. I think there's an official ban list. I don't really know, but actually, yeah. If anyone's played it, tell me about it. Tell me if it's good. As I said, I don't really know much about it. The attackers are weaker, but you have like decent support Pokemon. Yeah, and trainers, but obviously you're missing some. So this is a fun idea. Then 2020, this person says deck build like a noob, and your decks must include exactly 20 Pokemon, 20 trainers, and 20 energies. This is actually, I like this idea a lot. Oh, by the way, in standard, don't build 2020 if you're like a newer player. Some people say that. That's like not, it's not the way to do it. You probably want, as a if we want to stick to like tens, it's like 20, 30, 10, or like 10, 40, 10. Certainly mostly trainers. Depends how many Pokemon. Somewhere between like 10 and 20. Pushing beyond that's probably not great, but certainly 20 is fine. I guess energy can be below 10. I feel like that's pretty common now, but it can be above it as well. But anyways, yeah, this idea is really fun. Creates kind of a weird experience that might not be like super unique, but I think it's fun. And I'm actually going to talk about that in just a moment. With these are the ones I suggested. I said random battles, which I actually talked about on my channel, but I also talked about theme. Theme deck format is a format that is one of the things that I also started with a lot on my channel. My earliest video that was like That's like one of my, it's not like that big compared to some of my newer videos, but it was my biggest video for quite a while. Was ranking the theme decks. So I really love theme decks. And it's a format, if you're not familiar with what theme decks are, when I refer to theme decks, I'm talking about things that, um, let me uh, see if I can find it. So Charizard, the Charizard theme deck. I don't know. I don't think it says theme deck on it, but there are theme decks which are um, they're decks, right? But there's like certain ones of them, and I'm referring to they are playable in the format. V battle decks, EX battle decks are not them. It's this list of decks, I guess. From here, no, from Generation 5 to Generation um 8. Wait, yeah, Generation 8. The generation, so there's the V Battle decks, which says replace the set related theme decks, but I don't believe they were ever reset. Anyways, theme decks are fun. Notably, the era in which I played with them was really interesting, where you had decks. There's like a Charizard, or no, there's two Charizard ones. There's one called Charizard, but there's the Relentless Flame one focused on Charizard. Rapidash, which I think is really interesting, kind of unfun in some ways, but it's kind of like Pocket. It's, you really need to experience it. It was a coin flip card with immunity half the time. So that was kind of interesting, kind of annoying, but very defining. There's the Soaring Storm deck. If you've heard of Theme and you know any decks, that's probably the one you know, with Dragonite and some other cards. Overall, I think it was a really cool format. And the way it worked is you chose a deck and then you played with that deck. It could work for V Battle decks and EX Battle decks. I'm not super familiar with them. I don't know how they play, really. I just I'm not really familiar with them at all. I just know that they exist, but I don't even know what they are, to be honest. I guess I've seen them, but not really. So those could be fine. And then there's also so I'm looking at here at Bulbapedia. There's just so many different decks. There's the World Championship decks, which are also pre-constructed, but those are obviously very good decks. There's the League Battle decks. So the League Battle decks are much better. This is not updated. I'm pretty sure the Charizard one is one, which is really good. I personally wouldn't do something like that. There's also the starter decks in live. I don't know where those, if they're, I guess they're not here, but anyways, those, that could be the format. I don't think the starter decks in live are very interesting. There's a bunch of them, right? There's the ones, like there's 8 every time, although I don't have 8. I actually only have 4 from the newest rotation. Not sure what happened with them. They're just not there for me. But anyways, you could do something like that, but they're a little too good. You want decks that are a little weaker. You just played them against each other. They weren't exactly meant to be paired against each other. I'm not sure, but they played pretty well against each other. Weakness sometimes mattered in some matchups a lot, but it wasn't, I wouldn't say, anything more than standard. And it had an interesting feel to it. It's not the same feel as standard, and that was kind of the point, at least of why it was there in Pokemon TCG Online. And to me, it was the perfect alternate format. That's really what I'm going to hold as the standard for alternate formats, because it's a format where it's very different in a really refreshing way. It's not too thought intensive, but it's not like it's mindless in a way that's unfun either. It's pretty chill and relaxing, but you can, really get into it. It's not like it didn't require any skill either. It was, simpler than standard with the less things every turn, but still plenty of stuff going on. Tell me actually if you want me to make a whole video on theme, but I really liked it, long story short, and would love to see that back in some form. Obviously can't do it exactly the same way. Well, they could do it exactly the same way, but then we would have the newest deck from Vivid Voltage, which is quite a ways away. So yeah, I don't know what the best route would be here. It could be the V Battle decks and the EX Battle decks, which I guess would probably be fine. Or it could be the Star decks, which I don't like quite as much because it's a little more boring, but could be fine. And the reason why a format like this is cool is because you have preset decks, you're not building your decks. This means that you don't need to focus on that versus standard, where deck building is a really important part of it. It's a difference, right? Some people definitely like deck building a lot. A lot of people don't, right? Let's be honest. People net deck a lot, and then maybe deck tweak, but you can kind of have to work with the restrictions of the deck. The other idea I have here is random battles. This is inspired by uh, uh, Pokemon, is it Showdown or something? I don't know. It's like a video game thing. I don't play the video game at all, and this is related to it, but it's the random battles thing. I'm sure some of you know what I'm talking about. Probably a lot of you don't, because you also don't know much about the video game, but I've heard about it. It seems interesting, given a random well, you're given a random team, but in this idea, you'd be given a random deck with stuff that like kind of works out. Like it's a deck. It's kind of like the power level of a theme deck, but you can make it the power level of a standard deck. It could be whatever. You're just given a random deck. The idea is you don't have to make your deck beforehand, and then it's a really different experience every time, but not anything that's like it's something that's fun and kind of clever, right? That's kind of how I describe it. It's something that I have done on my channel. I've talked about it a little and I've played some. I think it's interesting. It's something I like, but mainly the theme thing I think is something that a lot of other people would relate to. But I might go back to random battles at some point if I can get it fully fleshed out. But you want a format that's like easy to get into, as opposed to the what I think is nice, as opposed to like standard. You need to obviously have some level of prep, and then also the singles and showdown, and really all of these you need probably a lot more prep because it's not something where you can jump into even as easily as standard. But overall, I think they don't need to go this route, and they might never go this route. Then we have this other one, which says this person said that if expand gets cards from black and white and X and Y, they could do X black and white only or X and Y only, and then Sun and Moon only, even cards before black and white. And then they said like it would be harder to do that, but it would be cool, which I agree with. I'm not as familiar with stuff before black and white. I think the eras got a little weird. If we look at Limitless here, you see like Scarlet and Violet 3 years. Oh no, Scarlet and Violet. Scarlet and Violet's actually going to be different. So I'll skip Scarlet and Violet because it's actually going to be 2.5. But because halfway through this year, the Scarlet and Violet block will end. The last Scarlet and Violet set is Destined Rivals, the next set. I believe there might be a mini set in there. But that's what Pokemon has essentially said. But Sword and Shield has, well, it's 3 years. We're going to say, I don't count Crown Zenith. Then same thing for Sun and Moon. This was 3 years. X and Y was 3 years. This it is different, and then you have black and white, which is also 3 years, so you get to see that. And then heart gold soul silver was like 1 year, I think, but it didn't quite align quite as well. Again, I'm not as familiar with this. And then you had diamond pearl and platinum, which was 3 years, I guess. And then you have the EX era, which was longer. It looks like it was 5 years or something. I don't know. Then there's the Wizards of the Coast era. These aren't like all the same. I mean, you could see from like the set symbols, like the set name or the letter abbreviations, they're like two. As in the first. Oh no, yeah, these are all two, but it's like a letter and then a number for like I guess these are the E or are these the E series? I don't know. I'm just way less familiar with these, but it's like weirder. So going all the way back would probably be like if you want to do just Heart Gold in Soul Silver, I don't know if that would be very good, but something like Sun and Moon cards, they're already in the game. They could just do that, and I'm expecting that. Uncommon Fossil and I have talked about that some in the podcast. We both kind of agree that that will almost certainly be happening. Sun and Moon only and Sword and Shield only, almost certainly I cannot speak. Almost certainly confirmed. There's the Silver series, which I think is the block, or the not the block, the era, the generation. It is common, uncommon, rare only, so they might do that for those. They could do it not doing that as well. If you're not familiar with the whole Sword and Shield format, that format was a big mess. It was not like from the entire format, right? When all these sets were together, the decks were crazy. It was kind of interesting. I made a video at that at some point, but you had an absurd Lugia deck, you had an absurd Lost Zone deck, and you had the Mew Max deck, which is also pretty absurd. Reggie's was like kind of crazy. Not that good. It was good. It wasn't insane, but it had some pretty crazy tools. But Lost Zone could like attack turn one with anything, and Lugia could attack. You couldn't actually attack with anything Lost Zone turn one, but you could attack with most things, and you could theoretically do it turn one, and then turn two with Lugia you could easily attack with anything, including Yveltal Amazing Rare, which is a single prizer that for essentially for free, it knocked out anything. So, and maybe not essentially for free, but you could get the energy without needing your attachment for hand. So, anyways, that was kind of weird. They might need to put a little more thought into that, but that would be really cool, really logical. Then we have this next one, which said, this person said it would be based on the video game where you have 6 Pokemon, and then I don't know. They said some like different ideas, like it could be non-rule box or rule box, could be all the same type, just different things. But this idea of like having a Pokemon like your team, which is interesting, connecting it more to the video game, I think would be cool. Yeah, I'm not super familiar with that, but I think that's a really fun idea to get more people involved. At the very least, it would make cool YouTube titles, right? But yeah, definitely a fun idea. Obviously, not like super. This person isn't being, I don't think, super clear on exactly what, like, not specific, form specific ideas. I mean, I wasn't either. But yeah, this seems cool. And then the last one is Pokemon with no special effects. So this person said the first one was Pokemon with no abilities. This one's interesting, I think. Like, it's an interesting concept. Obviously, if you look at good decks like I don't know, this Dragapult deck. I don't even know what this is. I'm just clicking on a random list, but we see that almost every Pokemon in the deck has an ability. Badoo does not. I guess Badoo might be really good. And then Dragapult EX doesn't. Dreepy doesn't. Obviously Dracoloak does. Yeah, there's only one Dracoloak in standard, so that'd be kind of awkward, but whatever. That's interesting. I guess like it really does, yeah, reduce the viability of a lot of the best Pokemon, which Draco V-Star obviously rotated, but a lot of the Pokemon in this deck don't have abilities. Actually, more do than some decks because you have maybe not. We have some Pokemon they're copying, like Dragapult EX and Giratina V-Star, which don't have abilities. But anyways, most of your Pokemon still do, including your main attacker. If you played with Corso Master Pontiacs, you know that it walls a lot of things. So this is interesting. Of course, the interesting Pokemon in the game generally are the ones with abilities, though, so it could become pretty boring. But I don't hate it either. I think it's an interesting concept. Formats like Theme or things like that, more like beginner-focused formats, I guess, are formats that the Pokemon generally have less abilities, and they're still interesting. Generally have longer turns, focusing on setting up Pokemon, say on your bench. That's the point of bench Pokemon is to set them up as opposed to use their abilities because that's obviously not the use case anymore. As this person said, if there could be extra mechanics to buff filler Pokemon, and then they said they just said like you could like I don't know, just do better things, um, like maybe I don't know. This they said they can either turn face down prize face to face up, or pick a face up prize. Um, oh, when they're knocked out. So it's like making them half prizers. And there are lots of different things. Like drawing cards when evolving. They said for like these filler Pokemon, which are most of the cards, right? You look at a set like Journey Together has a lot. I'll just click on this one. It has more than average, but that's fine. Mostly these grass Pokemon, right? Oh, okay. I'll pick a type that's historically better. I'll pick Water. Warlord's interesting. Ludicolo is moderately interesting. I say the rest personally aren't. I know. I think Velouz is actually kind of cool, but anyways, or Velouz EX, but most of them aren't super interesting. A lot of these are pretty filler. Like this Pelipper is so filler. There's a lot of cards that are somewhat filler to really filler. So making these cards more interesting could be cool by giving them some more depth. Like making them just better doesn't really make them more interesting. Makes them a little more interesting. But like Volcarona, if it had 240 HP and did 180 damage, would be better. But would it be interesting? No, it would just be really good. So, anyways, I don't know exactly the way to do it. The person's they've had a few ideas, flipping over prizes, some like drawing with evolutions, things like that. But yeah, I think these are really interesting concepts. But tell me down below what you think about these different trainer trials ideas. But I hope you enjoyed. Consider liking, subscribing, hitting the bell, all that good stuff. And as Osmond said, see you in the next video.